Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to explain how to solve systems of equations by elimination. Okay, elimination means that you have to get rid of one of the variables, and with the remaining variable, once you solve it, then you substitute that variable to find the one you eliminated. Okay, let me start with the first one. You have to observe carefully before you start any systems of equations, because for example, in the first one you don't have to do much, because you see, you can eliminate any of the variables. As you can see, I have negative 4x and positive 4x. I'm allowed to eliminate that already, so I don't have to multiply, I don't have to do anything else. I just solve for y now. So a minus 2 gives me 6y, and negative 24 and negative 12, that's negative 36. And now I just have one step equation, which is solved by dividing. I divide by 6, I divide by 6, and I cancel out the 6, and then remains the y equals negative 6. Okay, in this one, number 2, I had to do the same. It's the same process. I just get rid of the 4 because I got positive and negative. In this case, crossing out the 4 means that they give me 0. Okay, in algebra we cross out when it gives either a 0 or a 1. In this case, for example, it gave me 1. I cross out the 6 because dividing 6 over 6 is 1. Okay, in this case is 0. I don't mark the 0, I just solve for y again. A plus 2 gives me 10y, and negative 30 and positive 20, that gives me negative 10. And then I solve the one step equation, just dividing by 10. So 10 and then 10. This is a free worksheet. It's called Kuta software. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, but you can access directly and download the exercises or print them out and practice. Okay, here in exercise number 3, I'm sorry, I'm missing one step. I'm missing, in the first one I had to find I already found the y. I had to find the x. How do I find the x? By substituting the value of y in any of the equations. I'm going to choose the second one because it has less negative. The second equation, this one, 4x plus ay equals negative 24, and I already know the value of y, which is negative 6. So 4x plus a multiplied by negative 6 equals negative 24. I multiply, so it gives me negative 48, negative 24. I'm adding by 48 on both sides to isolate the variable. I cross out 48. I bring down 4x, and then negative 24 plus 48 gives me 24. And now as I solve the one step equation, dividing by 4 on both sides, and then x equals 6. So the value of x is 6 and the value of y is negative 6. I just finished the first one. I have to solve for this one. The value of y, if I divide a negative number over a positive, it gives me negative. This is negative 1. So now I had to use the value of negative 1 in any of the equations to find the value of x. I'm choosing the first one because it has less negative. It's easier for students, but you can choose any of the equations. 4x plus ay and 20. I know the value of x, which is negative 1, so substituting by a multiplied by negative 1 equals 20 for x minus 8 and 20. Okay, I'm adding by 8 to get rid of the 8, but I had to do it on both sides. Okay, keep that in mind. And then I bring down for x equals 28. If I divide by 4 on both sides, I have x equals 7. So the values of these systems of equations are negative 1 and 7. Okay, now let's do this one. I'm going to erase so I can see less. as I see on equation number 3, I see that the y, I have negative y and positive y. Instead of eliminating the x, I'm going to eliminate the y because it's easier. Okay, I just cross out the y, right? And now I solve for x. 1x and 2x, that's 3x. And 11 plus 19, that is 30. Okay, solving the one-step equation, 3 over 3 gives me x, and then 30 over 3 gives me 10. Okay, and substituting, now I had to substitute by x to find the missing value, which is the y. Okay, I'm choosing the first one. X minus y equals 11. I already know the value of x. It's 10. So 10 minus y equals 11. If I negative 10 and negative 10, that gives me, I cross out the 10s, I bring down the negative y, and 11 minus 10 gives me 1. And I cannot have a negative number, a negative variable. I had to divide by negative 1 to get rid of the negative in the variable. Okay, negative over negative, now the y becomes positive, and 1 over negative 1, that is negative 1. Okay, the values of, so now you will see the difference because I had to do something to get rid of one of the variables. For example, this one, number 5, the first equation is negative x minus 9y equals negative 25. And the second is negative 4x minus 9y equals negative 23. I'm not allowed to cancel out any of the variables because negative 9 and negative 9 gives me negative 18, and negative 2 and negative 4 gives me negative 6. So one of the easiest way is to multiply by negative 1, because when I multiply the first equation, it could be either the first or the second, but I'm choosing just the first. If you multiply by negative 1, it will become positive 9. Okay, and the rule, you have to, if you multiply one term, you have to multiply all the terms in that equation. Okay, let's do negative 2 multiplied by negative 1, that's positive 2. I'm just like rewriting the equation. Okay, so negative 9 and negative 1, that's positive 9y, and negative 25 times negative 1, that's positive 25. You see, I just rewrote the first equation. The second, I will copy the second as it is, negative 4x minus 9y equals negative 23. Okay, can I cancel out the 9s? Yes, because one is positive and the other one is negative, so I just cancel out the 9s and I solve for x. 2 minus 4 gives me negative 2x, and 25 minus 23 gives me 2. I solve the one-step equation, dividing by negative 2 on both sides. Negative 2 over negative 2 is x, and 2 over negative 2 is negative 1. Now I have to find the value of y. I already have the value of x, right? I had to choose any of the equation. I'm choosing the second one. Negative 4x minus 9y equals negative 23. I'm substituting the value of x, which is negative 1, negative 4 times negative 1 minus 9y equals negative 23. Negative 4 times negative 1, that's positive 4, minus negative 9y equals negative 3. Now I had to get rid of the 4, taken away by 4 on both sides, right? Cross out the 4, I bring down negative 9y and negative 23 and negative 24, that's negative 27. I had to divide by the coefficient of the variable, which is negative 9. I have to divide on both sides, right? And negative over negative, that's a positive y, and then negative over negative, that's positive 3. The values of the last systems of equations are -1 and 3. Okay, I hope you understood this one. See you in the next video.